you know, necromancy really isn't such a bad thing. I mean, after all, it's a great way to raise a family. In Nevera Wars, you are a powerful necromancer with the power, of course, to raise the dead, and they will become your minions throughout the game. To start off the game, everybody will build a 36-card deck. And there are different types of creatures that you can choose from, but it's best to choose them in sets of 3. So let me actually zoom on down here to these skeletons that we have here. So I will show you first the pirate card here. Now the only thing we're going to look at is this top row here, if we can get some focus there. So, come on, focus. There we go. So, first of all, this little symbol right here tells you how much energy it'll cost to summon this creature. All of the lower creatures will cost 2 energy to summon. Then next here will be this chain link, and that'll tell you what this particular minion or creature, whatever you wanted to call it, will rise up from. And then this will tell you its classification, so that this pirate is a skeleton, of course. Then, next up is this raider. Not looking, the raider costs a little bit more to bring out to the field, and he has to be summoned on top of a pirate card. And of course he is a skeleton classification. So if I had a pirate card out already, and I have the available energy to spend for this card, I can go ahead and make the pirate a raider. Think of it like upgrading or evolving in Pokemon. It has the very, very same premise. But the old card doesn't go away. The old card stays underneath the new card, and then you have some new upgraded abilities, and of course a lot more defense. So let me get my side of the board set up so you can see how a round is played. So I've gone ahead and actually advanced the game a little bit further in, because the first couple turns was not a lot going on. So you will have obviously a hand of cards, and eventually you'll be placing out some of your minions. Now, you can only have 3 minions out at a time, and then each minion is accompanied by a health tracker. Actually, it would be more of a damage tracker, and you'll track the damage on them. For example, my bound can withstand 20 damage. Let me actually zoom in so you can see that. So my bound right here can withstand 20 damage. If you look here, he's already received 3 damage, so he is on his way to possibly being destroyed by my opponent. My other minions that I have out have not yet received any damage yet, but it's coming. So on your turn, you can do 4 different actions, and you can play them in any order that you want to. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and draw 1 card, because it's one of the options that I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now at the beginning of the game. So I gained this chained card, which has to grow out of a shackled card, and it is a ghost card. Well, I have this bound, and that bound, this seems to be the 3rd state that it can be. So I don't quite have the shackled out, and of course I don't have the energy available to cast this minion just yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that into my hand. Another thing that you can do on your turn is you can place an energy face down. Well, what is the energy? Well, on the backs of your cards, this is energy. So you'll have to sacrifice one of the minions that you could possibly play and play it face down as an energy, and that's all it's ever going to be. It's just going to be ethereal juice for all of your other creatures. So you know what? This chain guy, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bring him out by the end of this game, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use him for a little bit of energy. So I'm going to place him face down into my little energy area. And as you can see, I have 4 energy now to spend. So I have a couple of options now. I can, if I want to, I can play as many cards from my hand, and I can upgrade stuff that was out here. Or if I had an empty slot, I could play one of the basic minions down into that area. Or I can try to upgrade something, or I can try to use one of their abilities, and their abilities, of course, always cost a little bit of energy to do so. So, let's see here. What do we want to do? Let's go ahead and take this bound creature, and we're going to go ahead and do their ability. So let me pick him up here. So he has a couple of abilities here, but we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do the whip action. So the whip action is going to cost 1 energy, so we're going to expend one of our energies. And what this is saying is you're going to do 2 damage plus 1 damage to a different target. So I will choose one of my enemy minions, and they're going to get 2 damage, and then another one of their minions is going to get 1 damage. I'll go ahead and declare that, and they will go ahead and suffer that damage. Now I still have some energy available, so I could activate abilities on my other cards if I wanted to, or I can go ahead and I have this shackled minion. Now the shackled minion is chained to the bound minion, excuse me. So I can go ahead and upgrade him. It costs 3, because that's what I have here, and that happens to be what I have left. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those, so that way they show that I've used those. Now I can actually use this on either one of them, but I'm going to go ahead and put it onto this one that already has a little bit of damage on him. As you can see now, it can withstand 35 damage. When you upgrade a minion, you don't reduce their damage, you don't reset anything. It's just now they have a higher threshold of where they need to go to be destroyed. So the Shackle still has the 3 damage on him from earlier, but he can now withstand a little bit more. Also, the abilities have now upgraded. So if you look here, once that was a whip is now a flail, which does 4 and 2. And then we have some other ones, like for example, this shock does 5 damage, and then the opponent may not use 1 energy, so you kind of lock one of their energy. But with this one, it costs 4 with thunder, but does 8 damage, and it locks 1 of their energy, which is very, very interesting. Now, excuse me, there are some abilities, like this pirate ability. So they have something like jab. So if I had an energy left over, I could do this jab. This jab would do 2 damage, and then has a 50-50 chance of doing 2 more damage on that same target. So whenever you see this little yin-yang symbol, it means it's a 50-50 shot of doing some extra damage. So let's just pretend that we had some energy left over, and I went ahead and attacked with this pirate, and I'm going to use this jab ability. So the jab will cost 1, and it's going to do 2 damage to one of my opponent's minions, so stab, or jab actually. And then what you're going to do is you're going to roll a 6-sided die that you have on your side. Each player should have 1. I only have 1 for this set, but it's really not necessary. So you go ahead and you roll that die, and anything with a high result of 4, 5, or 6 is successful. And I only rolled a 3, so the extra damage just does not happen. Now I could have used this ability to just do a guaranteed 3, but hey, a possibility of 4 damage is pretty good in this game. Now that I've actually used an ability on this creature, I couldn't use any more this turn. It's also the same with this shackled minion. I had used the whip ability when he was a bound creature, but I still cannot use anything on here since this particular card or this particular minion had already did an action. But you will continue on when one of your yours or your opponent's minions get reduced down to 0 hit points or take enough damage to meet the shield number on their card, you will go ahead and pick up that minion and hand it to your opponent as a trophy. The first person to receive 8 minions is the winner of the game. Now also remember, when you upgrade a minion, there are 2 cards below that. So if my opponent managed to kill this shackled, they will not only get the shackled card, but they will also get the bound card. So now this is actually worth more to them to try to destroy. It's just a little bit harder. And that is the gist of Nevera Wars.
Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.
So that is Nevera Wars. It is a pretty cool game. If you like games like Magic or Pokemon, it kind of has this combination. It does some of the things that both of them do, and it does this in this interesting and unique way. If you like building decks and trying to figure out what combinations work best, this is really, really great because there are lots and lots of different types of cards to choose from. I only showed you skeletons and ghosts, but there are different ghosts, there are different skeletons. There are many ways to build your different decks. So you can try to see what works for your playstyle and actually what also works against your opponents. But this is fantastic. It's really easy to play right out of the box. There are some suggested decks right in the back of the game, the booklet. Or if you wanted to just go ahead and freeform and build your own, you're welcome to do that. The art on this game is fantastic. I love the different types of minions and the art style on them. Overall, it is a pretty easy to understand game, but it's going to take a while to fully get that strategy and fully understand how all the pieces and cogs work together. So, if this looks like something that you would enjoy, down below I'm going to have a link for their Kickstarter so you can go ahead and check that out. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and help support Cloak and Meeple. On my next screen, you'll see a link for my Patreon. Please go ahead and check that out and donate if you would like to. Also, do not forget to subscribe and hit that bell down below so that way you'll be notified whenever a new video goes up. And thanks for watching.